Is China preparing for war? Will it invade Taiwan and take over the island by force? We've asked this question many times on the show, but today Beijing has given its clearest signal. It is spoiling for a fight. Today China declared that it wants reunification with Taiwan, and it wants to quote-unquote be firm in doing so. Now this is a major shift because in the past China has phrased this differently. It used to say it wants a peaceful reunification with Taiwan. The word peaceful has now been replaced with firm by this man, Li Qiang. He's China's premier. Less than a year into office, he delivered an address to China's rubber stamp parliament today, presented his annual report and peppered it with some tough talk on Taiwan. Listen to this.
We must persist in implementing the party's overall strategy for resolving the Taiwan issue in the new era, adhere to the One China principle and the 1992 consensus, resolutely oppose Taiwan separatism and foreign interference.
This is not just a hollow threat. It comes with a bigger military budget. This year, Beijing will boost its defense spending. By how much? A little over 7%. So what is the budget for 2024? $231 billion. The budget for the PLA, the People's Liberation Army this year, $231 billion. It is the biggest increase in 5 years. And these are the numbers which China chooses to reveal. Ask any expert and they'll tell you that the actual figure is higher. China often ends up overspending on its military. There are parts of the military budget which are kept secret, like the spending on research and development. They do not declare it to the world. Last week, the US flagged concerns. It's been worried about China's growing military capabilities. America believes the threat from China is growing. It is entering new battlegrounds, including space. Japan, too, is concerned.
China continues to increase its defense spending at a high level and is rapidly expanding its military capabilities across a wide range of areas without sufficient transparency.
So the PLA gets more money this year. More money means more weapons, more gear. A bigger PLA also means more expansionism. And that's the goal of Xi Jinping. He keeps asking his troops to prepare for war, and now he wants to arm them for that war. Taipei is watching this with concern and stepping up its defenses. Today, the defense minister spoke about this. He said Taiwan would have more missile drills this year. And they're not the only ones bracing for Chinese misadventures. The Philippines, too, is on guard and at the receiving end of China's bullying. There was another incident today. Chinese and Philippine coast guards clashed. Chinese ships engaged in dangerous maneuvers. They bumped into ships from Manila. There were 2 collisions in all. Both sides deployed water cannons. There were injuries on the Philippine side. So China seems to be intent on keeping its many territorial disputes alive. Which brings us back to the Premier's speech. It's an annual event. Usually the world tunes into it for insights into the Chinese economy and their plans for the years ahead. And this time, the economy is a sore point for them. Here's what Li said about it.
The main expected development goals for this year are a GDP growth of around 5%, more than 12 million new urban jobs, a registered urban unemployment rate of around 5.5%, a rise of around 3% in consumer price index, synchronous growth of household income and economic growth, and basic balance of international payments.
Now, those are some ambitious targets. Beijing is promising growth. The Premier says he wants to boost the economy, but he doesn't say how. How will he do it? China's economy faces a host of problems. Growth has tanked. There is rampant unemployment. Among the youth, it's so bad that China has stopped publishing unemployment data. There is a crisis in the property sector. Since 2021, 40% of home sellers in China have defaulted, 40%. Chinese stock markets are in a state of decline. In the last 12 months, they've fallen by 20%. The Indian stock market has surpassed Hong Kong. All these ailing sectors need bailouts, but China won't rescue them. It is more focused on building the PLA, on preparing for war. Even if Xi Jinping manages to subdue a small neighbor to boost his ego, it will be a Pyrrhic victory.